So, last month was about creativity, and this month is about healing. Revealing wholeness. Today's topic is healing as a revelation. I saw the light, right? Spiritual healing through spiritual mind treatment should and can be effective in every area of living. It is the use we allow or disallow in our life, particularly in connection with physical healing. We should leave ourselves open to accept any form of healing, whether it be from medicine, surgery, psychiatry, diet, or exercise, if we need it. However, properly understood, we are all one, all streaming from God. Every new discovery in medicine is just as much a revelation of God for that purpose as in a new invention, a new interpretation of life, or a new answer to prayer. That's from Spiritual Healing, the Basics of Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, page 6. So I invite you to go back into your life to the place before you thought you needed to have a healing. When everything was, in your eyes, perfection. Now, you might have to go back a lifetime or two, right? If you believe in that sort of thing. Or not. Maybe you can pretend. But all of us have a spiritual prototype. Go back in your mind to that place where you felt perfect, whole, and complete. Can you remember before there was a so-called split, and there was you and your situation, when they were all one? And when we can go back before we had the so-called challenge and remember how that felt, we start to introduce into our consciousness the healing vibration of wholeness. Can you feel that? Can you remember that? And if you can't, that's okay. Can you pretend that you remember it? Do you feel the energy in here? We're kind of like in a healing mode right now. There's that essence of perfection. And I'll tell you that it doesn't matter what you've been through, what you've walked through, what's happened to you, because you're still that perfection. You're just a being experiencing a realm out of your perfect experience. But you're still perfect, whole, and complete. You will never not be. You can never not be. You can feel like you are, but you're never not. What if you could be reset to your original pattern of perfection? And that can happen. If you believe, and there's the key word, belief, be in life. If you can be in life the way you choose to be in your consciousness, as aligned with. Now, we have all had stuff happen to us in this plane of existence, haven't we? We've put expectations on situations or people, and they have failed miserably. Or maybe we have failed miserably. Maybe I'm not even going to get into what it is because that's your business. But we have all felt like we missed the mark, haven't we? We've all felt like I really wanted something to happen and it didn't happen, and I was upset about that. I've heard it said that expectations are premeditated resentments or disappointments. Think about it. You wanted something to be a certain way, and when it wasn't that way, it tipped over your fruit basket. As my father calls it, fruit basket upset. Fruit basket upset. Oh my God, the cart turned over because it didn't go the way I thought it should go. But what if you could entertain the idea that it is actually going the exact way that it's supposed to be going? What if it's all part of a bigger plan that we don't see because we're in the midst of it? That whatever is happening is part of the healing. Now, I had to wrap my mind around this and say, well, you don't know what I've been through. Oh, the trouble I've seen. My problem is different than yours. Mine is bigger, of course, than everybody else's. But when I looked back on my challenges and saw that they had brought me to a new realization of myself through the growth, through that challenge, that it brought to me exactly what I had needed. Every challenge brings exactly what's needed for our ultimate growth, or we wouldn't have walked through it, right? But when we're in the midst of it, we complain about it. Oh, this is so tough, and I don't know if I can get through this one, and I'm really low right now. Or maybe it was a physical healing, and maybe somebody even made their transition because of it. And I don't want to lessen any of that energetic because it hurts. Let's face it, some things in this life hurt, right? But through my exploration, I've found that no matter what it is, no matter what has happened, and again, I don't want to lessen anything that may have happened to you. This isn't to minimize anything. It's to look at it holistically. It's to take a step back and look at it as the big picture and go, you know what? What happened came to pass. It brought exactly the experience that was needed for our ultimate and highest growth at the time, or it wouldn't have happened that way. And we've walked through it, or we're in the midst of walking through it. And I'm better for it. In some way, I am better for it. I have grown in grace and character. I have been given new tools that if I walk through this again, it won't sting so bad. Or I'll know where to go to find the answers. Do you know what I'm saying? We look at a challenge as a bad thing. We look at, we're very complacent, aren't we? It's like if anything is different in our world, and we're walking around going, I wish my world was different. I wish things would change. But don't change my world, right? Don't change my world. We're such an interesting being. But when we start to embrace the change, this is why I say when you drop something on the floor, instead of getting angry, bless it. Go, wow, look at how that Gatorade splashed. Look at that. You ever pick something up by the top and it wasn't quite closed? We've all done that, thinking we had mighty fingers and things went everywhere. Well, sometimes our lives are like that. Sometimes we get picked up by the top and we're not fully jarred correctly. And we get jarred, don't we? We may be the Gatorade that's fallen all over the floor. But that's okay. That's what needed to happen. And when you can embrace the challenges and start to go, you know what? This is all part of a master plan that I may not see it in this moment, but as I embrace this, I start to be part of the solution. Once you can get on the solution side, you have tipped the scale of recovery. And you are back on part of an equilibrium, if you will. Dr. Ernest Holmes said in Your Invisible Power, "No greater good can come to you than to know that the power already within you is the power to live and the power to create. Not only to create yourself, but to create for others. The power to do good, the power to heal, the power to prosper." We are our best practitioners. But there are times when we are so close to a challenge and so enveloped by it that we need to reach out for help. And that's where you need to call a practitioner. You need to call some person that can know you in that higher realm. Because sometimes a doctor wouldn't perform a surgery on themselves. Right? You can't be your own anesthesiologist. It just doesn't work that way. And this is why sometimes we need to reach out for help. You can try. When I'm in the midst of a challenge, I try to heal myself first. Don't we? When nobody else is around, you call out to God. The first two steps of spiritual mind treatment is God is. You believe that there's a power, and that's your business what that power is. We're not going to sit here and say, well, it's Jesus the Christ, or it's not Jesus the Christ, or it's Muhammad or Buddha or whatever you choose to believe it is. It can be a doorknob if that's your belief. It can be the plane of existence. It can be higher consciousness. It can be whatever you choose it to be. But as long as we can agree that there is a power and that you are part of it, not apart from it, there's not God and you. There's God as you. One of us here. One power. Sometimes when I'm in the midst of my experience, that's all I can remember. I can't get to the other steps of treatment. But as long as I can know that there is a power in the midst of all things and activate that power by remembering it, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. So the demonstration of health or any good is the result of a consciousness of receptivity to the health, to the good. So whatever you're walking through, whatever you think you need a healing on right now, leapfrog. I call it leapfrogging. Go to that place in consciousness where the healing exists. What does it look like for you now that it's healed? The money's there, the health is there, the connection is there, or whatever didn't need to be there has been removed. Whatever the healing looks like for you, imagine it is so right now. You don't have to imagine how it becomes so. You have to just see it as whole. Make the quantum leap in consciousness to the healing. A good practitioner treats from their demonstration, not to it. They already have the wholeness of consciousness to know that something wonderful is happening. That's why when I went to my minister and I had just lost my job, and she said, "Congratulations." I thought, how unfeeling can you be? Congratulating me that I lost a job. She says, "I'm not congratulating the job you lost. I'm congratulating on your new job." I said, "I don't have one yet." She goes, "I see you as employed." She was so far in front of me in consciousness, seeing me as an employed being, that I couldn't even get it. But once I aligned with what she was trying to put forward for me, everything fell into place. I started volunteering. If you want a job, start volunteering somewhere, and all of a sudden you tell the universe that you're ready for action, and you will get calls from the universe. That's just the way it works. And I've proven it over and over again. The minute I feel like I need more, I do more, and more comes to me. Because you put yourself in the flow. It's like, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. That's because they're already doing it, right? We develop the consciousness by directing our thoughts and feelings towards an expectation of good. We do so often enough and powerfully enough to bring about the expectation into our subconscious mind and our belief system. If you don't believe that a healing can happen, the universe always says, yes, let me show you how a healing cannot happen. And then you think this power doesn't work. And you're proving the power perfectly by your unbelief. Isn't it? It's such a small shift in consciousness, but a huge shift in manifestation. I used to believe that I needed more money. So I would treat for more money. And what I got was the desire to have more money. Think about it. I wanted to have more money. Well, let me give you more bills so that you can really want money. How does it feel to already have the money? How does it feel to have all your bills paid off in full and more to share and spare on top of that? That's the consciousness we need to hold. So what about emotional healing? How do you mend a broken heart? And it's said that time heals all wounds. Well, it's not the time that heals the wounds. It's the experience that happens within that time. It happens to take a certain amount of time sometimes to reconstruct things in our mind in a way that makes sense. If you can think about what you believe God is instead of your challenge, you're halfway there. So what do you believe God is? Do you even have a belief in God? Let's start there. Well, I don't think you would have came this morning if you didn't have some idea of wanting to know what it was. What if you could believe that it's sitting in your chair? Wow. When they say that it's as close as hands and feet, it's because it is your hands and feet. If there's no God out there, it's got to be in here. This is what quantum physics teaches us. You don't fix something out there and expect it to happen here. You fix it here and it happens out there. See, we've been taught our whole life backwards. Go out there and get a job. Go out there and get some college and start your family. No, you need to start right here. Everything out there is leading me back here. And I wonder why I'm nuts. I don't wonder anymore. I know I'm nuts. And once you claim that, then you can heal it, right? So, when you're in the midst of a challenge and you want it healed, whatever it is, I invite you to think of what you believe the infinite is to you. What is God to you? What is the creative genius of this universe? What is it that you see when you look at the stars, or a rose, or a puppy, or a baby, or the waves crashing? You know why we love that stuff so much? Because it's part of us. It's who we are. That wave is crashing just for you. If you turn around, it won't be crashing. The waves don't continue to roll in when you turn around. Do they? Think about it. Think about it. So in conclusion, the creation process is that wonderful action that takes place in all of us as we think and form new ideas of perfection in health, in modes of living, in diagnosis of illness. This creation sometimes comes from nothing into something. Dr. Holmes said, be open at the top. Be open at the top. Understand that this means we must always be learning and aware of life as it expresses. The universe is always shouting at us from all angles. And if we're not open to hearing it, it will continue to shout. This is why when challenges start to get bigger, we're not seeing it rightly. So healing is the revealing of truth that is within us. It's not out there somewhere, but it is everywhere. Restore yourself to perfection, because that's who you truly are. So it is. So let's just take a moment and follow our teaching and go within. Let's remember who we are for a moment here. Just taking a moment to bring to the forefront of our consciousness what we believe. I know that there is a power that creates worlds. It creates human bodies, and it creates everything that we see, feel, and think. I know that each one of us, being a divine outpicturing of that consciousness, are divine demonstrations of the awesome power of the universe and its ability to create in this world of form. And as such, I speak a word of blessing today upon anyone, anywhere who has ever asked for prayer. I know that what we believe has now been activated and works in a certain way. And as we align ourselves with what we believe, that power becomes us. We literally turn into the power of healing. I may not know what your situation is, but I know that God knows. I know that in the midst of whatever it is, there is a new connection. A new energetic is being revealed in a way that makes sense, is identifiable, and that we can take powerful, positive steps towards the revealing of that truth. So I say thank you. Thank you for the divine healing of this consciousness, for the revealing of something new that allows us to walk in a new direction, to see things rightly, and to remember who we are in such a way that allows us, each and every one, to progress in the way that makes sense, that allows love to rule the world. For this, I am so grateful. Thank you, divine, loving, awesome power of this universe. God, Christ consciousness, love. For I know that it is happening right here and right now. As we release this word directly into that living, loving law of mind where I know it is already done, we affirm this together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Okay.